Alright, just a brief reminder and some pointers for people. Yes, I will be live streaming tomorrow for the election results as they begin coming in. I'll cut it short if Trump wins Pennsylvania and Michigan. That'll happen, we'll know by maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock at night or so. I'll probably start the live stream around 7:30 or a little bit thereafter. You'll be able to see it in my videos. You'll see it on your subscriptions list probably. Stay tuned to my channel. Starting at like 7, just go to the channel, maybe refresh it every 15 minutes or so, and you'll see it eventually. I would recommend you pay attention just for once to at least one legacy media station. The only reason being they'll begin to report the exit poll results. They'll spin it, they'll analyze it into the ground for hours and hours. Depending on which station, they'll either paint a rosy, optimistic picture for Trump or for Clinton. There's no way to tell at this point. I believe Trump will win based on higher turnout, based on the fact that a couple states that weren't toss-ups before are now, with Trump apparently advancing. For instance, it's possible he wins the state of Michigan. And most people discounted that. I said many moons ago, yeah, there was a chance he grabs Michigan. Pennsylvania, too, is now, in theory, on the table. I think he'll win Pennsylvania and lose Michigan myself. That's just my estimations, is my opinion. Based on my understanding of demographics, based on differential turnout. We also have to compare the final round of polling to the actual results and see if it's true that there was systemic polling bias. I think there probably is, but keep in mind, depending on which polling firm you ask, it's either Trump up by 5 nationally or Clinton up by 4 or somewhere between those two. Or generally speaking, there's almost a 10-point spread in the polling. I see Business Insider fixating on the ABC poll. Oh, Clinton's up by 4. She's going to win the election. That's just one poll. You're not using the aggregate. Why aren't you people using the aggregate? My goodness. You're pulling a Karl Rove there in reverse, and it's very, very disturbing that these people don't learn from history. Of course, they've taken money from Hillary Clinton's campaign. I will say this, while I expect Trump to win, if he doesn't, yeah, it'll probably be because of some sort of systemic rigging. But complaining about it won't help. Maybe we'll learn about it years later or something like that. Also, we could end up in the interesting situation where they're extremely close in electoral votes. And Colorado, if you look at the early voting, it's almost 50-50. It could come down to less than half a point, in which case you could end up with a 2000 election situation with Colorado deciding the fate of the nation. Wouldn't that be funny? It would be almost better than a Trump win. The chaos, the constant analysis and browbeating and recounts. It'd be completely nuts. I'll live stream over and over if something like that happens. And I'll say this one last time. While I expect Trump to win, and while I'm going to vote for Trump, I am not a hardened Trump fan. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a Republican. I've never been a member of the GOP. And if he loses, it's no skin off my back. If Clinton starts a war, I'm not going to get drafted. You might. Those of you who are 25 and under are much more likely than somebody pushing 30 like I am. So it's not my problem. It'll be your problem to defend the nation from the imaginary boogeymen that she concocts in her minds, the commies or some militant group that she herself gave funding to or something like that. It won't be my problem if there's a nuclear war. I live out in the middle of the boonies. I'll be just fine. If you're living in a city or the suburbs of a city, certainly near a capital, you're probably toast. You're probably fucked. And I think people should probably, when you go to the polls, if you're still considering Clinton, the one thing I'd ask you to keep in mind is what she said about Iran and Syria, and the fact that Russia is involved with both directly, and the fact that chances are, if you're watching this channel, you could be younger than I am, under 30, under 25 specifically, that is. Of course, I'm 28. If you get drafted and have to go and kill people or get shot at for Hillary Clinton's war, just remember that you voted for her. That's something that I would ask you to keep in mind. Also with Trump, if he wins, don't think that I'm going to be part of Trump's cult of personality. If he screws up, if he does stupid shit after being elected, I'll be the first person to criticize him. So there will be the only master that I have, the only one I have specific loyalty to in the sense of leadership is myself. That's the Luciferian path. No loyalty to Trump whatsoever. If he does a good job, he gets praise. If he does a bad job, he gets chastised for it. That's the way that it will always be. Hillary Clinton, I've fixated 99% of all my criticism on her because she deserves it. because her proposals are stupid, because she's divided the nation. Not because I have any great deal of a problem with her fiscal plan. It's basically more of what we've already been going through for 8 years. It's not going to negatively impact me in any significant sense. I don't work in manufacturing, so I don't worry about the TPP perhaps as much. I'm not employed in the kinds of jobs that would be destroyed by the TPP, which she will sign, let's face it. She would sign the TPP. She called it the gold standard. So, if he loses, it's like, oh, well, my final prediction was wrong. All my other predictions were right. Still puts me head and tails above Nate Silver, even if he turns out to be right on the general. But I don't think he will be. I think turnout's going to be completely in Trump's favor. You take one look at North Carolina's early voting results. It looks pretty good for Trump, honestly, at least in that state and in Florida. In Colorado, it looks like, though, it's going to be so close. It's going to be 50-50. If you're a Trump fan in Colorado and you're not voting, it could be your one, legitimately, it could be your one vote that swings the state one way or the other. It's really that close. People in Colorado and Nevada, they're under a lot of pressure right now. But yes, I will be live streaming 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock, somewhere around there, and or when we get some of the exit poll results coming in. Of course, not all the nation closes its polls at the same time. Closes a lot earlier on the East Coast than the West Coast. A little bit of a screwy system, but that's sort of the way it works. That's about all. Peace out.